Hello students, welcome to science class. Now in this video I am shortly explaining this lesson, living organism and then surroundings. Already we have completed this lesson. Now again shortly I am explaining. Let's begin. First we have learned about what is habitat. So what is habitat? First of all, the surroundings where organisms live is called its habitat. You know that. It means every animal has a habitat. The place where an animal or plant lives and grows is called its habitat. It means the surroundings where organisms live is called a habitat. Habitat is where an animal finds the food, water and shelter it needs to live. For example, toucan's habitat is the forest. Then in tiger or lion, their habitat is the forest again, grassland. The camel's habitat is desert. So here some habitats are given: desert, forest, then tropical rainforest, grassland, seas and oceans, that mountain, the rivers and lakes. It means many types of habitats are there. Next, the surroundings where plants and animals live is called their habitat. So here one definition of the habitat or what is habitat. So the surroundings where plants and animals live is called their habitat. Several kinds of plants and animals may share the same habitat. It means in one habitat many types of animals and plants are there. For example, when we take the example of forest, in forest also many types of animals are there: lion, tiger, deer, elephant. And plants also many types of plants are there: sesame, sal. It means so several kinds of plants and animals may share the same habitat. When we take the example of mountainous region or desert, in desert also many types of animals are there: camel, rat, snake, now cactus, that pine. So the surroundings where plants and animals live is called their habitat, and several kinds of plants and animals may share the same habitat. So again, habitat. So habitat are of two types. One is terrestrial habitat. And one is aquatic habitat. So two habitats are there. Again, two types of habitats are there: terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitats. So what is terrestrial habitat? It means what is the meaning of terrestrial habitats? So the plants and animals that live on land are said to terrestrial habitat. Again, the plants and animals that live on land are said to be a terrestrial habitat. And some examples of terrestrial habitats are forest, grassland, desert, coastal and mountain region. Now aquatic habitat. What is the meaning of aquatic habitat? So the plants and animals that live in water are said to be a aquatic habitat. Once again, the plants and animals that live in water are said to be a aquatic habitat. And some examples of aquatic habitats are ponds, swamps, lakes, rivers, oceans. Now in these two habitat, so there are many types of habitats. So these may be broadly grouped as terrestrial habitats and aquatic habitat. And as I told you, terrestrial habitats means on the land and aquatic habitat means in water. So in both type of habitat, wide variety of organisms present in different habitat. When we see in terrestrial habitats also many types of organisms are there. It means plants and animals are there. Different plants and animals in forest, different in desert areas, different mountain areas, different. So different plants and animals are there. And in water also, in aquatic habitat also different plants and animals are there. In sea, that marine, different types of plants and animals are there. In lake, different types of plants and animals are there. So there are many types of habitats. However, these may be broadly grouped as terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat. And there is a wide variety of organisms present in different habitat. See here, the different habitats are given. Grassland is there, that here desert or that plain is there, mountain region is there, plain in desert, the camel, we can see that camel also there. Now to live in these different types of habitat, that the presence of specific features and habits which enable a plant or animal to live in a particular habitat is called adaptation. Here also question arises, what is adaptation? What is the meaning of adaptation? Or definition, give definition of adaptation. So your answer should be the presence of specific features and habits which enable a plant or an animal to live in a particular habitat is called adaptation. Now again here two things, that biotic component and abiotic component. Biotic components means the living things such as plants and animals in a habitat are its biotic components, and in habitat some non-living things also there. So these are abiotic components of the habitat. Means one thing only you have to remember, that living things, it means that biotic components, and non-living things in habitat, it means abiotic component. So biotic components, the living things such as plants and animals in a habitat are its biotic components, and examples you know that plants and animals. And abiotic components, the non-living things such as rocks, soil, air, water in a habitat are its abiotic component. So you should remember that biotic components means living things in habitat, and abiotic components means non-living things in a habitat. Now characteristics of living things. So as I told you, how can you differentiate between living and non-living? So to understand this, we should know that characteristics of living things and non-living things. So some characteristics of living things, they need food. They respire, they excrete, they respond to their environment, they reproduce, they grow, and they show movement. So they need food. As you know that all living things need food to get energy, to grow, and to do their life processes that go on inside them. After that they excrete. It means that all living things need food, and some part of the things that is rest, it has to be removed by the body as waste, and some other that our body also produce some waste in other life processes. So these things also has to remove from the body, is known as excretion. Now respond to their stimuli. It means that all living things respond to stimuli, whatever is there. Whenever bright light suddenly strike in your eyes and you close your eyes, when you touch any sharp things, suddenly you remove your hand from there, or when you hear very loud music, you close your ears. This all respond to stimuli. Plants also so respond to stimuli. Then reproduce. All living beings, all living things reproduce their own kind. Whether that mode of reproduction is different, but all living things reproduce. Then all living things grow also. First of all, when you were in first standard, you were very small. Now you are in sixth standard, so you are somewhat taller. It means that is growth only. Then they show movement. They show movement also. It means that all living things can move from one place to another. Animal also go from one place to another, like human, plants. Whether plants is living things, but they cannot move from one place to another, but some parts of the plants can move. For example, some leaves or some leaves or flowers also face towards the sun. Their roots also go deep into the soil. This way they show movement. So here living and non-living thing. Differentiate between living things and non-living things you can write. Difference between living things and non-living things. So characteristics, if you know, you can easily write that living and differentiate between living and non-living things. First, living thing grow and non-living thing do not grow. Then non-living thing move. Living thing move, non-living thing do not move. Living thing breathe, non-living thing do not breathe. Then living thing eat, non-living thing do not eat. Living thing reproduce and non-living thing do not reproduce. One more characteristic is there. Living thing die, non-living thing do not die. So this way you should remember that living thing and non-living things. So now what then is life? When you push your hand deep inside a sack of a wheat, you find somewhat warm inside. It means there is some heat produced inside the sack of wheat. The seed respire and in that process give out some heat. We know that respiration is a process and that take place in seeds even when some of other life processes may not be very active. However, looking at all the diversity of living beings around us, we can conclude that life is beautiful. So again one more time I am telling some definition. The surroundings where plants and animals live is called their habitat. Several kinds of plants and animals may share the same habitat. The presence of specific features and habits which enable a plant or an animal to live in a particular habitat is called adaptation. There are many types of habitats. However, these may be broadly grouped as terrestrial habitats or on the land and aquatic habitat in water. There is a wide variety of organisms present in different habitats. Plants, animals and microorganisms together constitute biotic component. Rocks, soil, air, water, light and temperature are some of the abiotic component of surroundings. Living things have certain common characteristics. They need food, they respire and excrete, respond to their environment, reproduce, grow and show movement. So here students, our lesson organisms in their surrounding is over. Now in next video I will explain the textbook exercise. Till then, go through the video twice for better understanding, and still if you have any doubt, any query, you can write in comment box. We'll meet you soon.